Welcome to the latest edition of Jets Latest, where you get the latest on the Jets, Jets. I'm your host, spitting statistician Dane Martinez, and today I feel like it's Groundhog's Day because we are doing it again. And I got to give you my main takeaways from a 37-22 loss at home in Week 5 to the Dallas Cowboys. The other thing I'll say, like it's Groundhog Day, is click on that link and become a Jets Latest insider. You will get access to exclusive content, to all sorts of other perks throughout this season, where hopefully we will win a game at some point. But listen, it happened again. Now, I don't think it would have made as much of a difference, right? Kind of because of the ripple effect, but you never know. And what I am talking about is, once again, turnovers and penalties completely change this game. One turnover specifically, and it was a turnover from Breece Hall. I mean, here's the thing, okay? I don't know that we would have necessarily won the game, but the Jets were down 10-3, starting a drive on their own 33-yard line with 8 minutes and 4 seconds left to go in the second quarter. And then it started to rear its ugly head while moving the ball the way we have been moving the ball most of the season. And I will talk about that a little bit later on in this episode. On that drive, we had 3 penalties kind of stunt the momentum of a drive. We had a false start. We had a holding call. We had an ineligible man downfield, right? And then Breece Hall fumbles on the 10-yard line. We're going in to score, for goodness sakes, just like Braylon Allen was going in to score last week on Monday Night Football against Miami, right? And this is near the 2-minute warning. Then, okay, fine. We don't get the points there, and it's 10-3, right? By the way, while Breece Hall was doing that, when he fumbled, he had run 9 times for 78 yards. We're talking about better than 8 yards a carry, once again, enforcing our will in the run game. And then what winds up happening? Dallas goes down the field and scores with under a minute left. They go up 17-3. Then, something else I have been talking about here on Jets Latest. Then all of a sudden, we're down 2 scores. We're down 17-3 now, right? So that puts us in, like I said, off schedule, the quote-unquote obvious passing situations. And what do we do in that drive? Incomplete pass, a sack where we lose 7 yards, and then field scrambles for 9 yards on a 3rd and 17. It's a 3 and out. It takes only 15 seconds. Dallas gets the ball back, and then boom, Javonte Williams, 66-yard run down to like the 2-yard line. They punch it in again, and they go up 23-3 at halftime. This was a 10-3 game. We were going in to potentially tie it at 10 late second quarter. This was around the 2-minute warning, and then somehow, instead, it's 23-3 at halftime. Ultimately, this game finishes 37-22. It happened again, okay? Remember Breece Hall with the we shoot ourselves in the foot, but then we shoot ourselves in the head comment? This time, it was Breece himself. This felt like deja vu, the turnovers. It felt like the Tampa Bay game late in the first half, where we had these turnovers that all of a sudden had a kind of close nip and tuck feel kind of game, and then boom, we are far behind and playing catch up in obvious passing situations and kind of garbage time. Here's the thing. Look at the first drive of that game, okay? Much like I can say, hey, look at the first drive of the Miami game before the fumble, right? We were had a 3rd and 6, and the penalty goes against them instead of us, right? We get all the way down. We had 13 plays. We take 7 minutes of clock and run the ball, pass the ball efficiently, starting to move the ball. Mason Taylor was involved early as well, and we get 3 points. If we can even just get 3 points on some of these instead of making negative plays, it will become a different story. And the turnovers have now become almost like a punchline, almost like a joke for the beginning of this Jets season. So much so that we got to talk about it. First of all, last week, ball security has been such an emphasis that Aaron Glenn himself was actually out there in practice last week, okay, with boxing gloves on, trying to punch out the ball, trying to help create turnovers. It is absolutely ridiculous. Like, Aaron Glenn is obviously making this a point of emphasis. We've seen this all the way back to officials in training camp trying to cut down the penalties. We've talked about it. He's held people accountable. But what are we going to do? Listen to what he says. He goes, you can emphasize things with all the words you want, but you have to put action behind the emphasis. We can't turn the ball over. I'm looking for our guys to make an impact when it comes to taking the ball away. The thing we have to do is be intentional about it. And then on offense and special teams, we can't give it away. We're doing everything we can to improve that. These things happen, and you have to work on them, emphasize them, put some action behind that emphasis, and it's been good. I've always been a coach of action. I really want to get down and dirty and show the players exactly how you want to do the things. It's important for all of us coaches to be a part of it. And that's all well and good. Here's the thing. It has been an emphasis. You've heard all the players talking about it. It has been an emphasis. They know it, but it continues to happen. And we are now in historic territory for the Jets. The Jets now, through 5 games, are -8 in the turnover margin, okay? They are the first team in NFL history to start 0-5 and to not have a takeaway in their first 5 games. They are now the first team since 1933 to not have a takeaway in their first 5 games, okay? This has clearly been a point of emphasis. And honestly, this is why I feel like it's not on Aaron Glenn. I really don't think it is. People are going to say, oh, they're poorly coached, oh, they're undisciplined and all this stuff. But what else are you going to do? It has been the emphasis ever since Aaron Glenn started. It has been the emphasis. It has been the thing we are talking about. It has been front and center of everybody's mind, and it just keeps on continuing to happen. And again, I don't know that we beat Dallas. I don't know that we wind up putting the 30 some odd points up that the Cowboys did, right? But it completely changes the game. It completely changed that game in Miami on Monday night in the first quarter. It completely changed the game that could have been 10-10 at the 2-minute warning against Dallas. It completely changed the game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It completely changed the game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this is what bad teams do. This is what young teams do. This is what teams that need a culture change are doing. And I still believe that these coaches, Aaron Glenn, Tanner Angstrand, even Steve Wilkes, are the coaches to do this. It's just like Aaron Glenn says, it ain't instant coffee. I always say it takes a bigger turning radius to turn the Titanic than it does a jet ski, but it continues to happen. This is now becoming a punchline, unfortunately, for the Jets, Jets. The only other thing I want to talk about here is as it relates to this Jets offense, okay? Because last week, and I want to talk about this, Tanner Angstrand was out there in front of the mic being like, yo, there's good things on tape, and there's plenty of good metrics. I'm over here on Jets Latest telling you guys the Jets have a top 3 run game in the NFL, and there are more stats to back this up, despite the fact that we are now 0-5, losing to the Dallas Cowboys 37-22. Check this out. Tanner Angstrand last week said, watch the tape. There's a lot of good stuff on that tape from all the different positions. We have to eliminate the turnovers and penalties. We eliminate that, and we're going to be just fine. And, it's hard to say when you're 0-5, but I kind of agree with him. Going into this game against the Dallas Cowboys through 4 weeks of the NFL season, a lot of people look at explosive runs, okay? Explosive runs are runs that go for 10 or more yards, okay? And there's also big plays in the passing game that go for more than 20 or more yards. Chunk plays in the run game and the pass game. You would not expect it because this Jets team is 0-5, but the Jets had 18 explosive runs going into this game. That was tied for the second most in the NFL. They had 27 explosive plays on offense overall. That was tied for 5th in the NFL. Breece Hall makes the fumble, the proverbial shoot yourself in the head moment that he talked about last week, right? But I do want to remind you, going in the first half, he ran 9 times for 78 yards, 8.7 yards a carry. He had 3 explosive runs in the first half. He had a gain of 22. He had a gain of 16. He had a gain of 21 before the fumble. Then in the second half, he had a gain of 17. He had in the third quarter. He had a gain of 16 in the fourth quarter. Breece Hall finished with 14 carries for 113 yards. That's over 8 yards a carry. You know how hard it is for an NFL running back to average 8 yards a carry in a full NFL game? We are still doing that. I think Tanner Angstrand is right. There are some good things on tape. We did hit Garrett Wilson a few times. I do think Mason Taylor got involved a little bit more, but it's not only the turnovers. We are now minus in every single game, -8, worse than the league. First team without a takeaway since 1933, but also we had 10 penalties for 61 yards on Sunday. And like I said, that drive that ended in the fumble had 3 offensive penalties, a holding, a false start, an illegal man downfield that changed our rhythm. I have been talking about it on this show for weeks. The idea that this Jets offense just needs to stay on schedule, and we can do it. We saw the success rate in week 1. We see that we're a top 3 run game. Even Damian Woody last week was on social media saying it would be great to see the Jets could just play a clean game because there's been some very positive signs on offense. It's hard for me to keep on saying the same thing when we're 0-5. It's hard for me to keep on saying the same thing when it looks bad, right? But these things are just focus mistakes turnovers and penalties, and a lot of these games would be completely different if that happened. Now, how different? I don't know. I'm not about to tell you we coulda, woulda, shoulda be 3-2 or 4-1. I don't know. You are what your record says you are, and we are 0-5. We have the worst turnover margin in the NFL. We have tied for in the worst 5 in terms of penalties. We have a bad third down conversion, but I do not blame this coaching staff. The vision, the approach is workable. Running the ball, staying on schedule, being efficient in the passing game is a recipe for success if it can be executed correctly. And the problem is we are executing it correctly at certain times, but then a turnover or a penalty absolutely kneecaps what we are doing, and it did it again as the Jets fall to 0-5, like I said, with a 37-22 loss against the Dallas Cowboys. That'll do it for this episode of Jets Latest. We are going to be talking about this one all week long, and then the Jets go across the pond to take on the Denver Broncos, a Denver Broncos team who just went into Philadelphia and beat the defending Super Bowl champions. So no easy task across the pond in week 6 for the Jets, Jets. But let's see what you guys have to say as well. MG8812 says, Coach Glenn is doing his job. The players have to stop embarrassing Coach and themselves. The players have to decide if they want to be heroes or settle for being zeros, he says. It's that simple. Time to stop making mistakes and rise up. There's a whole lot of season left to turn things around. Now, at 0-5, I'm not so sure about playoffs turn it around, but I did say if at the end of the year we feel good about where we're going, and if we can eliminate the mistakes, I think we're going to see a different product. And hopefully that is part of the growing pains, the learning experience, the culture building that is still happening. Old Dave, Jets Latest Day 1 represent, shout out to him, says, we are seeing player frustration that can be good in the development of vocal leadership. True accountability will start amongst the ranks, and it's the ultimate on-field correction to eliminate the mental mistakes. We'll see. We have to eliminate them. That sounds great, Old Dave, and I'm with you. I've been talking about it, right? I think they can eliminate it. I think this team, the product on the field, would look a lot better if they eliminate the penalties and the turnovers, but it hasn't happened now through 5 games. It's getting late pretty early in this schedule. G Davis 2K2 says, keep doing what you're doing, talking to me, the spitting statistician. You and another channel I listen to speak with balanced analysis. You see what's actually going on. I see others speak the narrative against Fields, not paying attention to the flow of the game. Hopefully you become the #1 channel for the Jets outside of the team's page. Keep up the good work. I appreciate that, G Davis 2K2. I really do. I appreciate everybody. I thank you for the growth of this channel. Continue to watch these videos, like these videos, subscribe to the channel, and tell a Jets fan friend to tell a Jets fan friend. If there's any still out there that want to get on the bandwagon, there is room available, right? Hopefully we clean this up. I will continue to talk about it all week long as we got a date with the Denver Broncos across the pond in week 6. And if you want to hear more from me, the spitting statistician Dane Martinez, remember, I am also the host of the FTN Fantasy Show over on Sirius XM Channel 87, the fantasy channel. Maybe you're playing fantasy football. Maybe you're dabbling your toe in a little sports betting. I can always help you out there as well. Remember, if you become a Jets Latest Insider, that's part of the exclusive perks that you get. You could always hit me up over there. You could also hit me up on social media, Twitter, at Spittin' Speeds. I love engaging with you guys in the comments. Hit me on the radio, or if you want to be down with the Jets, show your pride, show that you are here no matter what, and that you do have faith in this team, that we can turn it around. Keep it locked, because I will be here all week long talking about what continues to happen with the 2025 green and white, and hopefully how we can get ourselves out of it and what it will look like moving forward. That'll do it for this episode of Jets Latest. We'll be back tomorrow and every day talking Jets. But for now, we out of here. Peace.